So let's jump right in. So when you log into your account, you'll see this is the dashboard. And you can start your search right here on the dashboard if you want, or you can click up here in the search tab. And the search, you simply just enter a keyword of a domain category that you're interested in. So if you're interested in a college search, you could type in college degrees and then run a search. And it takes a second because it's scouring the database and there's no results because our keyword was too long. So let's look for something else. Let's look for degrees. No degrees. Degree. No degree. College. There we go. We found one. So you're going to run a lot of searches where you do not find results, and that's because those specific keywords don't have domains out there floating around that are unowned that receive web traffic. So on this search, if we scroll down, we'll notice that we found 406 entries of unowned domain names with the result college in it. Now when I say unowned, it's possible that a couple of these have been purchased because our database isn't updated real time, it's updated on a daily basis, and it consists of around 400 to 500,000 domain names. There are a lot of domain names out there that are unowned, have expired, that have traffic. Every day domain names are expiring that people have abandoned that currently get traffic. And I'll go through these results with you so you can understand a little bit more of what you're seeing. Basically, the domain name has the highlight of the keyword you search. They're in alphabetical order, but if you click on the domain name, you can sort it. You can also sort on how many results you want to see per page, and then down here is the tab of the pages. This stands for characters, for how many characters are in the domain name. So there's 22 characters in this domain name, 14 in AirLink College, and so on. And then we have three columns: views, business, and unique, and they're all somewhat similar. Views basically stands for how many views per day these domain names receive on average. Now there could be more or there could be less of this per day. What we do is we take the last 7 days of views and we average it out. So over the past 7 days, this domain has been viewed 49 times. So we've decided it's on average viewed every 7 times a day. And we update this as well on a daily basis. So this is overall views. This does not take into consideration a person coming back to the domain name over and over again, or if it's a robot like a Google Spider and stuff like that. Then we have business views per day. This is the number of views per day when someone viewed it during business hours. So in the US, so that would be from like 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This received 5 views. And why this is important is this helps determine if a lot of the traffic's US based or not. We can't really determine that through our queries, but we can look at this and we can say, okay, Alabama Barber College had 18 views, 14 of them were during the business hours, so that leads me to believe that it's probably US based traffic. The other 4 might have been before 8 and after 5, so it's probably US based traffic. But if you find one, let's see if we can find any with a big discrepancy. If you find some domains with a big discrepancy, let's see. This is a decent discrepancy. 17 business views, college mashup on 28 views. So there's probably a little bit of international traffic here. But it's still a lot of US traffic. Most of these are still going to get mostly US traffic, but there's still going to be a little bit of international traffic. So if you find a domain name that has a lot of views and very few business views, then it's probably somewhere across, in China or India where the traffic's coming from. So that's an easy way to tell if it's US traffic. Then we have unique views. this is the number of unique visitors. So you'll notice for College Credit Builder, there's 50 views per day. However, 19 of them are unique views. So that means if you're trying to monetize, you buy this domain, you try to make money off of it, don't expect to make money off 50 views per day. Expect to try to make money off of 19 views per day. So that I just want you to understand the difference. And also, when you see a big discrepancy between unique and overall views, I kind of am skeptical on where that traffic is coming from. Is it robots? Like for example, is a Google robot hitting it a bunch of times? So that's why I like to have the views, the business views, and the unique views all at somewhat closer in numbers. They're never going to be exact, but I like to have them a little bit close off by less than off by more. And then we have the score. This is a score that we kind of assign to each domain name based on how it's performed over a 60-day period, a 30-day period, and a 7-day period. So we'll give it a little bit of a rating. So if you see a green arrow, that means it's performing better now. It's getting more views now than it did 60 days ago. If you see a red arrow, it means it's getting less than it did 60 days ago. So reds kind of mean the domain's getting a little bit less traffic. Greens means it's getting more traffic. And these scores will change too from month to month for specific domains if they have not been bought as well. The higher the score, the better the domain. That said, these scores do not take into consideration necessarily other criteria. So I have bought domains with lower scores, like in the 7s, that have done very well. They have done well. So honestly, I like to get scores in the 9s when I buy domains, but take it with a grain of salt. If you're trying to buy domains that are related to a business that you have, if they're on this list at all, then that means that they're pretty good domain names as well. So in the salt search, we can also add a couple of things. We have .coms searches as default, but you can add .net, numbers in the domain name, hyphens in the domain, and then you can change the length of how many characters, max length, that's characters, in the domain name. So if we change the search, let's change it to something like books. That's a pretty broad search. Scouring our database, you'll notice it has added numbers. Its max characters is 14, and you'll see scattered in here .nets, and there should be some with hyphens as well. Oh, there's some. Here's some domain names with hyphens. So here's how you can expand the search a bit. We do not offer right now any more than .com and .net searches, but from my experience, most domains that are parked and making money are .com and then .net's a second, and I stay away from other domain extensions like .biz and .org and stuff like that. So then we have the actions icon over here, and we have 3 different options. So if you find a domain name you're interested in, let's do another search. Let's get rid of numbers and hyphens. Let's do a search for books. Let's look for a good domain. Wild for books. That looks interesting. Somebody's interested in books. So let's say we're interested in Wild for books. So it has 32 views, 21 business views, and 23 unique views. So this looks like a good domain to me because the unique views are closer to the overall views. So what I'll do then is I'll come over to actions, and this purple icon here, when you click on it, it basically just takes you to domain tools, and it lets you know a little bit about it, the domain name. It looks like the domain name was deleted and it's now available. It has been archived in their system, so we can actually go look at screenshots of it. So it looks like there's been one register with 3 drops. That means whoever it was registered with, it looks like VeriSign, somebody bought it and then let it expire. Somebody else bought it, let it expire. So it's had a lot of change. So let's look at the different screenshots. And why it's important to look at screenshots is these are screenshots of when the domain was owned by somebody else. You can see what they did with it. For example, here, it looks like they just parked it on GoDaddy. They really didn't do anything with it. So then they kind of let it expire. And then it looks like here, it looks like they actually did something. They made something out of the domain name. And this is why the domain name has traffic, is somebody spent a lot of time working on this domain, turning it into a business, a blog, or some important website that was getting traffic. And this traffic is good traffic because they're interested in books. We know that by looking at this. So this site looks like is let's see. It looks like some kind of a library or fundraiser of some sort with books. But this is good information for us. So what if there's other pages you'll run into, like if the website is in a different language, then you might not want to purchase the domain name if you're trying to market to US traffic, because that's a red flag that the traffic is not going to be US based. So that's a great sign. This is a good sign. It means that this traffic, somebody's trying to find this website with books. So now let's go back. Then we have another option of this orange. This will take us to the archive.org, which archives all of the previous web pages. It looks like the domain was bought in 2011 originally, and you can also kind of get an idea. We can get an idea here of different design changes. It looks like it didn't do a very good job crawling it, and this happens sometimes on archive.org. Yep, they don't have the screenshots anymore for this specific domain, but we did get a good idea of what they looked like. So that didn't help us out that much, but going to domain tools really helped us out. So then if we're interested in buying it, we can click on the cart and they'll take us to GoDaddy, and we can buy it. So if you're interested in buying it, you can just go through here, or you don't have to buy it through GoDaddy. You can go through a different account, whichever. There's all kinds. There's Dynadot. There's all kinds of different sites you can go to buy it. So this is just kind of a brief overview of the search and how the search feature works. To finding domains, we have other tutorials that we have on parking next. So stay tuned.